Welcome to Coull Discussions. It's going to be a somber one today. We did talk about 13 Reasons Why, the series. It's a Netflix one, and it is raising a lot of controversy amongst people.
Definitely a lot of controversy because of the subject it's about, the subject matter, and that is suicide.
Yeah, so I understand that there's some reasons why, because, you never want to glorify suicide. You never want to make it come across as being the way to go, because you don't want people to go, hey, look, it looks so cool.
You don't want people to be like, there's copycat killers.
Yeah.
You don't want copycat suiciders, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It does happen. Copycat suicides do happen. There are cases that if you ever want to look, you can look for them. They're out there, and just but here's what it is. In Canada so far, the Ontario School Board and the BC School Boards have banned teachers from talking about it. I believe in BC they banned schools from talking about it, period.
Really? Wow, I didn't know that.
The students themselves are not allowed to talk about this series. Now, so far, nothing has happened for the Calgary School Board, which is great. They said if teachers want to talk about it, talk about it. And I think this series is a good stepping stone to talk about mental health, as well as unintended consequences.
We sit here and we focus on physical health. You go to the doctor to get yourself physically checked out and make sure that your heart's ticking and your lungs and your kidneys and everything's working fine. But we don't go to doctors to talk about our brain.
It's not literally 20 years ago. We don't know as much as we know now.
Well, the brain is a tricky thing.
The brain is very tricky thing.
No, I truly believe, I don't care how smart you are or anything, I truly believe that you'll never understand the full capacity of an individual's brain. No matter how much you talk to one person, no matter how much you, no matter anything.
They will surprise you at some point in time in your life, and you'll go, wow, I did not see that coming. And you will get that. For those of people that are in long-term relationships, it happens. And it's an interesting surprise because it's like, I never expected that from my spouse. Mm-hmm. So I get it. So this series brings about, I would hope, a serious discussion. We reviewed it yesterday, and we would highly recommend that
check out the series and the video from yesterday.
Yeah, but watch it with your kids, because this is actually a really good way to set up,
to open up the conversation.
Everything, actually, because they talk about sex, they talk about drugs, they talk about partying, they talk about bullying, they talk about inappropriate relationships, rape, and voyeurism.
Yeah, I guess from the photographer kid.
Yeah. So because that's the first tape was the whole voyeurism,
and I think that like even as a parent watching, like seeing that, and I think it opens your eyes. And
this is what happens in schools.
This is exactly what happens. And when your kid comes to you, I think we as adults, we brush them off. We brush them off because we've been through it, and we've come through it, and we look back and go, well, just don't worry about it. But I think you need to stop. And if your kid comes to you and wants to talk to you about, this boy, he said no to me, or this girl said no to me, or something like that, I think you need to sit down and talk to them. And you need to actually take their problems, because this is their life. This is like the end of the world. From this person's bullying me. We sit here and go, hey, these are words. Words are only have the power that you give them. But kids don't understand that. When their peers are calling them names, that's the end of the world for them. It hurts them, and you have to realize that, because that is their world. And you need to sit down and you need to take the time to be understanding and be,
at the very least, you have to go, you know what, yes, it may be difficult right now. This is where one of those things, if you just gotta, you're gonna have to put up with certain things, because once high school is done, the world changes.
It's way different. The high school is not even
different. Like, I understand if you go to college, college is going to be kind of similar to high school, but it's not, because you're going to be under much more intense pressure to get things done by comparison to high school. So at the very, very least, you need to
When you leave high school, there is no more, like, there are still, like, groups, but they're not the same type of group.
But the thing is, you can choose to walk away from these people. Like, if you have to work with people that are a bunch of assholes, well, you only have to put up with them for 8 hours a day, and then you're going to go home. Mm-hmm. All right? And whatever. You can do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want. But at school, you know, these people follow you around. That you have to hang out. And
I just think that we need to start taking... now... we have to focus. A lot of the focus is on like the victim of like bullying and stuff like that. I think we need to just start raising our kids better as human beings.
Yeah, because
I just don't understand. My child was bullied, and I don't understand how young kids like that can act like that. I don't understand because my child, he can be an ass, and I'll admit that. But he's a gentle individual. And I look at children, young children, and I go, they're all just gentle. They don't see color. Children in my eyes, they don't hate.
They're taught to hate.
When you're young, children,
yeah. All people are taught to hate. You don't hate when you're born.
No.
You said, you'll hang out with anybody.
My youngest child says hi to everybody.
Right? Come on, like, look, when you go into a mall and you see a parent with kids and you walk by the kid and the kid's like,
yeah,
it's like at that point in time,
you know what you do?
They haven't
wave
learned.
Back. Just wave back.
Yeah, you just
go hey,
and wave. Like hi. I walk by and the kids in the neighborhood go hi and I go hi and
you know
that's it.
We don't have to be scared of each other. Yes, there are bad things in this world, and there are things that will but I don't understand. I'm This movie, I guess this series, just made me go, huh, that really happens in school? Like, I experienced a little bit of bullying when I was in school. I experienced
a lot of bullying
when I was in school. And, you know, I wanted to people to like me, so I put up with it. You know, I put up with it, and looking back, I go, well, that's stupid.
One of the characters, he puts up a lot with being low man on totem in his little group, and he puts up with a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, you know, it's one of those things of, you know, unintended consequences. This series shows it really well. It's like things you say, you may not think anything of, but that guy you just said it to will take it. It's their world. It's their whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think the only one who actually deserved everything that he got was a photographer, because he was a pervert. Now, again, that also shows evidence of, you know, watch what you're doing around. Now, because he actually went into people's homes and intruded in there and took pictures, whereas, you know, you got to watch where you take pictures of, because things will end up on everywhere.
It's such a fine line. Everything's such a fine line nowadays, you know, and it's like your privacy, you have no privacy. You can't just, it's almost, you can't be who you truly want to be, because you have to fit into this mold of the world, and I don't get it. Mm-hmm. I don't understand. Like, I believe that you should just be able to be whoever you want to be, gay, straight, black, white, purple, pink, religious, not religious. You know, I think you should just be able to be comfortable, but unfortunately we can't do that, and it hurts, man. For me, I don't understand what could make somebody, or how people could be so mean to people that it would drive them to the point of wanting to take their own life. Like, I don't understand that.
What, the taking of your own life or driving to?
Both. Like, I don't understand how a person could... Well, I don't understand how somebody could rape somebody. I don't understand how you could, like, forcefully put yourself onto somebody and be like, I'm going to have sex with you.
Well, okay, the one guy that did the raping, he didn't see himself as a rapist.
Well, I know, that's what I mean.
Right?
He didn't...
Unfortunately, in both cases, none of the girls really said no, but neither one of them were in that position to be able to say no. And they were both intoxicated.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
you know, but the fact that the guy just
had his way, yeah. Like, I don't understand.
And it's just like, you know, there was no sense of consent. Mm-hmm. You know, how it's one of those things of you watch this series and you see it from both sides. You see it from the victim and you see it from the abusers. And none of the abusers in the series actually see themselves as...
I guess abusers in real life don't see themselves as abusers.
Yeah, they
don't
see themselves
as the, you know, as other people see you.
Yeah, in this whole thing, none of those people see themselves as in the wrong. Mm-hmm. None of them do. They all think what they did was perfectly within their right. And how are we raising mostly men
to think
exactly this way?
And when you're when you're a sports star, you think, why are we raising our children to think that they can have just what they want? Like, that's how it came across to me. In that,
yeah, oh yeah,
I was like, I'm who I am. I'm popular. I'm a big shot. I can have whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. You know what I mean? And it's just, what are we doing as an older generation to make the younger generation think that stuff like this is okay? You know, I'm never gonna sit here and blame a victim because that's silly. But at the same time, I don't understand what would drive somebody to want to take their own life. To me, like I
understand.
I don't
the concepts.
I don't understand how somebody can just do that.
I get that sense of helplessness. Is like
I can kind of understand this because, you know, like I don't think I've ever been like full blown depressed. I don't know at what point you're clinically depressed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that, but I've had days or weeks or months where I'm just like in the shitter. Where life is the shits, and you're just like fucking.
No,
but I've never been to a point where I consider
when you're depressed, life can make you depressed. But when you are clinically depressed, it's the sense of you could be having the best period of time in your life, and all of a sudden you just are depressed, and you know everything can be working out for you. You could have gotten a pay raise, a promotion, won the lottery, and you're still depressed. And and it has nothing to do with life. It has to do with chemicals in your body, and you just become depressed. And you stay
people
depressed.
Kill themselves because of a chemical imbalance. Is that what it is? Like I just don't understand. Like I could never take my own life. Well, in like in a zombie apocalypse, I could. If I was like, you know, fucked, I probably could, but. You know,
but that's the thing. Is like, you know, for you the extreme is zombie apocalypse, but for people that are depressed, it doesn't take much to get to that extreme. It's like they don't need to think that far ahead. They just go, everything is shit.
So we're just broken.
Yeah, they're
human.
broken.
The human
flawed.
Psyche. That's the flawed part of a human, right?
Yeah. Now,
how do we can't, then I guess saying that you can't really stop it then.
No,
I guess.
You can't, but there are ways to help. And what you have to do is you have to talk to people. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing is, because of the modern age that we have, it's really easy to talk to people, but a lot of people don't talk. They just talk.
People don't listen, though. That's what I think.
And you're right. Now, if you are ever feeling depressed, is like, you know, if you can't talk to your parents, because kids don't want to talk to their parents, never do, and it shows in this series.
Because parents are gonna be like, ooh, life
they
lesson,
ignore
blah,
you.
blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
Parents, this is a good point to understand, is like when your kids are talking to you, explain, give them a similar situation in your life. You say, don't just brush it off. You go, well, I had the same thing happen to me, and you know what? Yeah, I had to grin and bear it for a couple of years during high school, but after high school, everything was maybe not fantastic, but it was so much better, right? Well,
and if your kid is like a victim of bullying or something like that, or a victim of something that's not like assault, you know what I mean? You need to get, like, if it's school, you need to get school boards involved, police. You need to not be scared to take these avenues, and I think like police and schools have to be more open to hearing and listening.
And they're starting to, because there's been more of a focus on it, because there's been really high-profile suicides that have been happening here in Canada that have opened a lot of people's eyes to things that go on.
Like schools, when you bring like cases of bullying, they don't. I don't think they're hard enough. I don't think they react quick enough. I think that if you have a bully, I think that bully, if there's you obviously can't just one case, but if it's like a multiple thing where it's over and over and over, that student, there should be no benefit of the doubt given to that student.
Yeah,
it should be
you're
out.
The benefit of the doubt once, maybe twice,
maybe. But anything past
like
that,
if you hit 3, 4, 5, 50,
or if it's
why is it that 50th time that he's still being given the benefit of the doubt? There's something wrong.
Yeah,
or
if there's multiple students saying this, or
well, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, okay, if you're being bullied at school and you go talk to the counselor, and your bully's dragged in front, and the bully says, okay, I'm never going to do it, and then I go and talk to the counselor. Well, there's two. There's one.
Yeah.
There's two.
Yeah. It's not just two on the same person.
Maybe something can be worked out.
And it should be.
But if a third person comes out, you go, okay, you know what? He's being a problem.
I think at the same time you need to teach the parents a lesson at the same time you're teaching the kids a lesson, because I think that every parent looks at their kid and goes, well, how could my kid do that? My kid would never do that.
There are, again, it shows in this series that the parents think they're blameless. And it's just like, or the parents are absent, I should say. There's a lot of cases where the parents aren't being parents. And I get that, it causes problems. But you know what? Just because the parents are absent doesn't mean that the kid isn't responsible for it. You can't just go, oh, well, my parents are absent parents, so you have to forgive me. It's like, no. You don't have to be a dick.
Yeah.
Being a dick is still on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Being a dick once, twice, okay. Third time, guess what? You know what? You're still being a dick.
Yeah.
You have to change.
Yeah, exactly.
And unfortunately, this society is a victim society, and we blame other people and don't blame ourselves. And
it always comes internally. For me, whenever there's an issue, whenever something goes wrong.
And if you think he's lying, check out our other videos, because he says the exact same thing.
You always need to look inside first. You always need to go, how,
my fault?
What did I do for this situation to make this happen? Okay, and I truly believe that if I was assaulted, I would want the person, the assaulter, to have something happen to them. But I would ask myself always, what did I do to put myself in a situation to have this? I'm not blaming a victim. I'm not blaming myself. It's still, the bad thing still happened to that person. But you have to ask yourself, what did I do to lead these series of events that I can avoid for the next time? Mm-hmm. And I think we need to teach our kids that as well. Should I go to this dank wooded area with 5 people that I don't know, I don't trust, I don't feel comfortable? If you tell your kids to trust their guts, I don't feel comfortable, and be like, I'm not going there, and have the confidence to. But how do you give your kids confidence? It's one of those things.
Yeah, it is one of those things that it's always find
slippery slope. Slippery slope. But just remember, like, honestly, in all seriousness, if you feel, before you even get close to a point to wanting to take your own life, just sit down and talk to somebody, man. If you need if you need to talk to us in comments or on the Facebook, go ahead. If you're having a shitty time and sometimes you just need to get something off your chest, feel free. I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not going to judge somebody for their problems, because we all have problems. We all have issues.
We've been through certain things, and in some cases, there are plenty of places to go to nowadays. Lots of toll-free numbers, lots of internet access to talk to people. Look it up. There are so many things to help. If you can't talk to anybody in your life, it's important. And
at the end of the day, if you come to a point where you're like, I'm going to end it all, pick up that telephone, call 911, and say,
I need help. I
need to talk to somebody. I'm at this point. And they'll send somebody to talk to you, and they'll send a police officer. Mm-hmm. They will. So if you ever come to that point, just don't, please, for the life of me, do not,
for the love of those people that are in your life.
Yes. Just don't do it. Please.
Because despite what you may think, people will miss you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All that stuff, guys. I love you. Yes. You, that lonely person out there, I love you, okay?
Oh, yeah, we have to. you're watching us.
Not only for that.
We do. So,
all right, guys.
See ya.
This guy looks like a fucking